Greetings folks, this is the BlackWeasel, and this is my video game review of Persona 3 for the PlayStation 2. I have played this game already 3 years ago, and I'm doing it again for old time's sake since Persona 5 Royal is coming out. Well, it already did came out at the time of this review since it's September 24, 2020. I also did the review already, so I am doing it again. Persona 3 is a JRPG that doesn't take place in medieval fantasy times compared towards Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and Tales. It just takes place in modern Japan where the teenager main character goes to school. While at night he joins a club called SEAS. SEAS stands for Specialized Extracurricular Execution Squad. There are monsters that show up at night between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m., which is called the Dark Hour. There's also a huge tower that takes place at the school at night. The gameplay The gameplay mechanics are turn-based, but something strange was put in place. I cannot control my team members. I can only assign tactics to them of what to do, but that's about it. What makes things worse is that if I die, then the game will be over. If the team members die, then the game continues to go on. This paves the way for a top priority on myself, so I don't die. Other JRPGs have never done this before, and so this was really strange. There is also the press turn mechanic where if I deal a critical shot, I can get an extra turn. If I hit the enemy's weak point, I get an extra turn and vice versa. The way the characters fight is with the use of personas. Personas are like Pokemon, except they are demons, monsters, and warriors from different mythology, like Norse, Greek, and all that, in Egypt. I can fuse 2, 3, 4, 5 at a time to create powerful personas. This makes the game a lot more complicated because there are many personas out there to make. And since this game is a lot harder compared towards Pokemon and Ni no Kuni, I have to do this and get used towards making personas and being real familiar with it. The music is wonderful. It contains a mix of rap and pop and techno in some ways, because it is totally different from the fantasy and orchestra sounds that I get from... Oh, shit. No, it's fucking dying. The battery's fucking dying in that fish. Orchestra sound. Okay, people. My camera battery died, and so I had to cut the game review short, but let's get back to it. The music is wonderful because it is totally different from the fantasy and orchestra sounds. God damn it. I said it in my head, but it came out different. I get from Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and Tales. But since this is the first in the series, there is noticeable work to be done. Another part of the game is the social simulation that happens in order for my personas to get stronger. Instead of the classic route of raising monsters to become really strong, but what happens in the beginning is that so much events happen, and then the whole game just dies because the mission is just a trek through the Tartarus, defeat shadows, and prepare for future threats. I'll give Persona 3 a 9 out of 10. It is the first game in the series that has been revitalized for today's times, but its difficulty can be unforgiving at times, and so I find myself dying multiple times and essentially getting smart enough to save many times. I think this was the first game where I started to become really sensitive about save slots, just so if I make a mistake and a day passes, I can go back and start over. Not to mention how I guess I save every 30 minutes or so in each Japanese role-playing game because of the fact how tricky and hard they can be. I played this game on February 20th, 2020, and I finished it on March 5th, 2020. It has taken me over 65 hours to finish this game.